What's up, y'all? Hope everybody's well. Welcome back to the Onyx Report's daily Black Masculinist news. Here to fill you in on issues relevant to men, but black men in particular in most cases. Still, there are cases that I think are pretty wide open in terms of their potential impact on men in general, and today we have one of them. It's actually a fairly interesting piece that I think deals with one of the concepts that I try to talk about quite a bit, proxy violence. And in this incident, proxy, what is it? Attempted homicide. Yeah, proxy attempted homicide, right? What am I talking about? Well, let's take a look. This is a piece that comes out of People magazine, right? Dealing with this Asian fellow here. The article's entitled, "Father Ambushed and Shot 9 Times Knew That Ex-Wife Sent a Teen Hitman, and Authorities Agree." Again, people.com. It reads, "The last time Baron Lee was able to leave home without getting anxious was the morning of July 10th, 2020. Seconds later, he was struck by 9 bullets in an ambush shooting in the parking lot of his Bellevue, Washington apartment complex. Lee, who was on his way to work at a Toyota dealership in nearby Burien, recalls the shooting like it was yesterday. Speaking with People, the devoted father remembers hearing a loud crack he thought was a firecracker, and then turned around to see a scrawny teenager he didn't recognize aiming a pistol right at him. The boy said nothing before firing 8 more rounds. Bullets hit Lee in the chest, hips, legs, and arms, leaving several of his bones shattered. Lee remembers the sirens of the approaching ambulance supplanting the fading footsteps of the fleeing shooter." Let's see. After being rushed to a Seattle hospital, Lee endured hours of life-saving surgery to remove 3 bullets. Today, 3 remain inside. Lee says the other 3 rounds fired that morning exited his body, leaving him with a dozen bullet wounds. Lee, 48, did not know his assailant, but he knew almost immediately who had sent them. "I knew it wasn't random, which is what the police initially tried to suggest. This was someone my ex-wife sent." All right. So this would be an image of her on the right. We can only assume that in the red is the teenager himself. It says authorities would eventually come to the same conclusion. They have alleged Lee's 30-year-old ex-wife, Sharon Kelly, orchestrated the murder attempt amid a bitter custody battle over their only child, Arik, a 6-year-old boy with special needs. In charging documents, investigators allege Kelly offered 17-year-old Joseph Good $13,000 in cash to kill Lee, even providing the teen access to a GPS tracker she'd allegedly attached to her ex-husband's car. Damn. She attached a GPS tracker to her ex-husband's car. Detectives allege Good then enlisted Quincy Mendez, also 17, to drive him to Lee's home the morning of the shooting, allegedly promising him $5,000 for his services. Now, this is something that, I've said before, Warren Farrell in his book, Myth of Male Power, actually talks about this. He talks about proxy murders initiated by wives, right? Or ex-wives or girlfriends to a man. And the interesting thing about it is if it's successful, it's not regarded as something that she initiated. So, as far as the records are concerned, it's one man shooting another, right? Which is common and everybody's seen it. So it doesn't get registered as something she initiated. It's just 2 men, one killing the other, right? If she gets caught, then she might be arrested for having orchestrated it, so on and so forth. But it's still not the same as actually shooting someone directly. And he also points out that when it comes to poorer women will tend to use sex to manipulate men into assassinating a particular ex-partner, whereas wealthier women tend to use money. So in this instance, being able to pay $13,000 for a teenager to kill her ex-husband, she obviously had it, right? So this is a class thing in terms of how it played out. But it's interesting to see how proxy attempted homicide can impact men. So obviously this is a white and Arab and Asian couple, but it's still important to men in general and to black men in particular, because these things happen all the time. Yet it's hard to categorize, it's hard to study, it's hard to quantify, and it's even hard to prosecute because, again, if it's successful, it's just one man killing another, right? With a killer who's gotten away. And in many instances, the woman in question was not even in question. Nobody suspects that she's actually initiated this if she's successful. And I've read off a number of cases in the last year and in most of my shows where these things are happening. And the reason I do that is because most people don't consider these issues. We're taught to look at them as random, rare, they seldom occur. But the reality is we don't know how often they occur. But today, I can at least show you more than one kind of case, mainly because if the information is available, I like to point it out. This particular piece here comes out of fox61.com. It's entitled, "Woman Accused of Hiring Hitman to Kill Ex Gets Probation." Right? Hartford, Connecticut, a woman charged with hiring a hitman to kill her ex-husband during a child custody dispute has been sentenced to 5 years of probation and a plea deal. Now, this is something else Farrell mentioned, that many of these cases are initiated by not just child custody issues, but overwhelmingly spousal insurance, right? Especially if you're talking about well-to-do folks. But nevertheless, spousal insurance is one of the inspirations behind proxy attempted homicide when it comes to a couple. But nevertheless, I continue. 39-year-old Tiffany Stevens was sentenced in Hartford Superior Court on Monday, 8 months after a jury deadlocked in her attempted murder case. The hit was never carried out. She previously pleaded guilty to a reduced charge of inciting injury to persons. Police in Simsbury said Stevens paid a handyman $5,000 to kill her ex-husband, Eric Stevens, but the handyman didn't carry it out. "I'm going to go get remarried and have more kids, and then when she does her next screw up and goes to jail for 10 years, I'm going to try to reestablish with my daughter," says Eric Stevens, in reaction to the plea deal. Despite the attempted murder charge, a state family court judge never revoked Tiffany Stevens' custody of her daughter. Now, I've said this for the longest. We're a chivalrous society in many respects. We're taught from birth how to prioritize women and girls, to not hold them accountable in the same ways we hold men. We know that women are sentenced 65% less sentencing time for the same crimes as men. And in this instance, this woman tried to kill her husband and basically got a slap on the hand. And now the husband has to say, when she tries something else and goes to jail, I will finally get my daughter, presuming he survives it. Very few protections put in place on his behalf. These things can happen to any man. So please, fellas, be careful. Best you can anyway. Protect yourself in every way possible, not just physically. Protect yourself legally. Protect yourself in terms of working with law enforcement if need be. If you have a spouse that's acting out of pocket, go back and listen to my show, a show I did last year with attorney Dennis Sperling. I think it was in the fall of 2020. And he talks extensively about how to get out of a bad marriage or relationship in a manner that doesn't leave you looking over your shoulder every other day. Nevertheless, I wish you guys well. Be aware that this stuff happens. Proxy violence, proxy attempted murder, or attempted homicide. These things are regular occurrences. We don't know to what extent, but we know that they don't always make the news. And again, if they're successful, it's just written down as murder. So be careful, y'all. All right. Peace.